Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a journey into Sonoma, California. It's a wine region that, well, it's much more than just pretty vineyards, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's this incredible mix of history, geography, and just, a huge variety of grapes.
Yeah, and we've gathered quite a bit of material here. We really want to give you the essential picture of what makes Sonoma, well, such a powerhouse in the wine world, why it really deserves a closer look.
Exactly. Napa often gets the spotlight, maybe, but Sonoma has this really unique, historically deep role in California wine. It's genuinely one of the places where it all started.
So our goal today is kind of unpack that diversity, right? Show everyone what makes it so special.
Precisely. Let's get into it.
Okay, so history first. Our sources trace the very beginnings back to the Spanish missionaries and the Mexican settlers. Seems like, similar to other parts of California, it kicked off with the church needing wine for Mass.
That's pretty much it. Establishing Mission San Francisco Solano back in 1823, that was a key moment. They planted the mission grape. It was called País elsewhere in the Spanish world.
Right.
It's, a really fundamental part of the story. Reminds us that early winemaking was as much about religion as it was about farming.
So building on that, the 1800s saw these pioneers arrive, people who started seeing the commercial side of things. Agustin Harasti. His name comes up a lot. Why was he so significant?
Harasti. He was a real visionary. Founded Buena Vista Winery in 1857. People often call him the father of California viticulture.
Right.
And for good reason. He saw the massive potential in Sonoma's varied landscape. And crucially, he imported tons of high-quality European grape varieties. Think of it like giving the region a whole new artist's palette to work with. His efforts really pushed things towards making, more sophisticated wine.
Wow, quite a leap from those early mission grapes.
hmm
But then the 20th century, well, it threw some major obstacles in the way, didn't it?
It definitely did. Prohibition, 1920 to 33. That nearly decimated the entire U.S. wine industry, Sonoma included. Vineyards just abandoned, wineries closed.
Yeah.
And then later on, phylloxera hit again, that tiny louse that attacks vine roots. It was devastating. Forced this huge replanting effort onto resistant rootstocks.
Tough times.
Very. But, those challenges, they also sort of forced a reset. Led to rebuilding, modernization, and a much sharper focus on quality and really understanding Sonoma's different terroirs.
Which kind of leads us to where Sonoma is now. What defines the scene today?
Well, modern Sonoma is really marked by innovation, I'd say, and a huge growing commitment to sustainability. You see so many vineyards going organic, biodynamic, really focusing on working with the land. And there's this constant drive for wines that genuinely express where they come from, that sense of place.
So with that history as a backdrop, it's fascinating how the actual geography, the land itself, then dictates what kinds of wines could even be made there. Let's dive into the terroir. Our sources hammer home how diverse it is.
That's absolutely the key to Sonoma. Right. Its terroir is like this intricate mosaic. The Pacific Ocean is a massive influence. You've got the cold California current, the fog, that creates these cooler areas right near the coast.
Okay.
Then as you move inland, it shifts, gets warmer, drier. This kind of dual personality, climate-wise, is exactly why Sonoma can grow such a wide range of grapes so well. It offers something for everyone, grape-wise.
So cooler spots for some grapes, warmer inland areas for others. Makes sense. And what about the ground itself? The notes mention this amazing mix, the volcanic, sedimentary, alluvial soils. Does that actually change the wine?
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. The soil affects drainage, what nutrients the vine gets, everything. Volcanic soils, for example, they're often mineral rich, right? So you might get subtle mineral hints in the wine.
Interesting.
Clay soils can give a wine more structure, more body. Sonoma's geological history basically gifted it this incredible soil variety. It just adds another layer of complexity.
And then there are the AVAs, American Viticultural Areas. We hear that term all the time. What's their basic function in understanding Sonoma's terroir?
AVAs are basically like official wine neighborhoods. Each one's defined by a unique combo of climate, soil, topography, the whole terroir package,
Right.
That combo gives grapes grown there a distinct character. So if a wine label says, say, Russian River Valley, it's telling you something about the expected style based on that specific area's conditions.
Got it.
And legally, at least 85% of the grapes have to come from that defined AVA to use the name on the label.
So it's a geographical guarantee, but it also hints at the flavor profile. And Sonoma has quite a few of these AVAs, each with its own personality, it seems. Let's touch on some key ones. Russian River Valley.
Yeah.
always seems to be mentioned first.
Yeah, Russian River Valley is definitely top tier, mostly because of its cool climate, which is heavily influenced by that coastal fog we talked about.
Right, the fog.
It makes it just perfect for elegant Pinot Noir. You often get that bright red fruit, earthy notes, and Chardonnay that has this lovely, crisp acidity, citrusy, white fruit flavors. The fog is like nature's air conditioning, really. Slows ripening, keeps things fresh.
And right next door, basically, is the Sonoma Coast AVA. Similar climate story there.
Sonoma Coast is also cool. Maritime, yes. But it's a much bigger, more spread out AVA, more geographically diverse than Russian River.
Okay.
You've got rugged coastline, inland hills, a wider range of microclimates because it's right on the ocean. So the Pinot Noir and Chardonnay from there can be really vibrant, often mineral-driven, with that distinct sort of coastal tang. It's a fascinating region.
Okay, moving inland a bit. Dry Creek Valley. That one's known for a specific grape, isn't it?
Yes. Dry Creek Valley is definitely warmer and drier than the coastal spots, and it's really famous for its Zinfandel. Rich, intense Zinfandel. Yeah. Often shows dark fruit like plum, blackberry, and that classic Zinfandel spice. You also find some really good aromatic Sauvignon Blanc there, too. It likes those slightly warmer conditions. Think of Dry Creek Zin as like concentrated sunshine.
And even further inland is Alexander Valley. How does that compare climate-wise?
Alexander Valley is warmer still and drier than Dry Creek. That more consistent warmth is great for later ripening grapes like Cabernet Sauvignon.
Ah, cab country.
Exactly. Produces really structured cabs with those classic black fruit, cedar notes. Merlot does well there too, often quite plush. Alexander Valley Cabernet often has this richness, this opulence.
And we can't skip Carneros down south near the bay. Sounds unique because of the water influence.
Yeah, Carneros gets a really distinct, cool, often windy climate because it's right there by the San Francisco and San Pablo Bays.
Windy, interesting.
That maritime influence makes it ideal for Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, both for still wines and for sparkling. They tend to have great balance, acidity, elegant fruit. The wind actually helps keep the vines healthy, believe it or not, and contributes to thicker grape skins, more concentrated flavors.
Our sources also briefly mention others like Sonoma Valley, Chalk Hill, Knights Valley, Rock Pile, where they add to the mix.
Each one brings its own flavor, you know. Sonoma Valley is one of the oldest areas, so it's got a real mix itself. Chalk Hill, with its volcanic chalky soils, often gives this distinct minerality, especially to whites.
Okay.
Knights Valley, warmer, further inland, great for concentrated reds. And Rock Pile, high elevation, rugged, produces some incredibly intense Zin and Syrah. Each AVA just adds another layer to Sonoma's diversity.
It really paints a picture of just incredible variety crammed into one county. Okay, let's shift to the grapes themselves. We've mentioned a few, but let's focus on the key red and white players. Pinot Noir is huge, right?
Oh, absolutely central. As we said, it loves those cooler spots in Sonoma. It produces these really elegant wines, you know, red fruit aromas, cherry, raspberry, often those earthy notes, maybe some spice. And the tannins are usually fine, silky, not aggressive.
Nice.
And you really can taste the differences between the AVAs and the Pinot Noirs, subtle nuances based on the specific terroir.
And the king, Cabernet Sauvignon, has a strong foothold too, especially in those warmer inland zones.
Yes, Cab finds its happy place in the warmer parts of Sonoma. It develops those more pronounced black fruit flavors, cassis, blackberry plus notes of cedar, spice, and it usually has firm tannins, giving it great structure for aging.
Like Alexander Valley you mentioned.
Exactly. Alexander Valley is prime Cab territory, often giving you that richer, more powerful style.
And Zinfandel, California zone, almost. Dry Creek Valley seems to be its Sonoma home base.
Definitely. Sonoma Zin, especially from Dry Creek, gives you these rich, often higher alcohol wines, just packed with dark fruit and that signature spice, often black pepper, and the old vine Zinfandels there. They can be incredibly concentrated and complex, a real taste of history in those wines. It's Sonoma's bold, spicy red.
What about Syrah? How does that perform across Sonoma's different climates?
Syrah is pretty versatile in Sonoma. Cooler spots can give you Syrah with more freshness, more elegance. Warmer areas bring out more richness, more body. But you almost always get those dark fruit and peppery spice notes. It really reflects where it's grown.
And besides those main reds, are there others contributing to the blends and diversity?
Oh, yeah. You'll find Merlot, often used in Bordeaux-style blends for softness. Cabernet Franc adds aromatics, finesse to those blends. Petite Syrah brings deep color, structure, intense fruit.
Okay.
And then you see things like Sangiovese, Grenache. used sometimes in Rhone-style blends or on their own. It all just adds to the incredible range of red wines coming out of Sonoma.
Right. Now, switching to whites, Chardonnay is clearly the leader there. Sounds like it can taste very different depending on where and how it's made.
Chardonnay is definitely the most planted white, and yeah, it's incredibly expressive of Sonoma's different terroirs. You get the whole spectrum. Lean, crisp, mineral-driven styles, all the way to rich, full-bodied, complex ones.
Big difference.
Huge. It depends a lot on the AVA cool coast versus warmer inland spots, and definitely the winemaking. Unoaked styles emphasize pure fruit. Oak fermentation or aging adds layers of spice, vanilla, texture.
And the other main white, Sauvignon Blanc, what's its typical Sonoma profile?
Sonoma Sauvignon Blanc usually hits you with bright, refreshing acidity and those distinctive grassy, herbaceous notes, sometimes even tomato leaf.
Yeah.
Often paired with vibrant tropical fruit like passion fruit or grapefruit. It tends to do well where it can keep that acidity, making for really lively, aromatic wines.
Are there other whites people might encounter exploring Sonoma?
Yes, definitely worth looking out for. There's Pinot Gris, often subtle pear, floral notes. Viognier, which is super aromatic peach, apricot, floral hints. Gewürztraminer with its classic lychee and rose petal thing. Yeah. And Semillon, sometimes blended with Sauvignon Blanc, adds body, maybe a waxy texture. They all contribute to the diversity, even if they're not as widely planted.
It's so clear how vital that match is, the right grape in the right place for the quality we see. And blending plays a big part too, doesn't it, in creating complexity?
Absolutely. Blending is an art, whether it's a Bordeaux blend aiming for structure and ageability, or a Rhone blend focusing on fruit and spice. Blending lets winemakers fine-tune the final wine, achieve a harmony, a complexity that maybe one grape alone wouldn't give. It's about making the whole greater than the sum of its parts.
So the grapes are in their ideal spots. Let's look behind the scenes now, vineyard management. In a place as varied as Sonoma, that must be really tailored to each site.
Oh, completely. You can't just have a one-size-fits-all approach. Vineyard practices have to be adapted. Different training systems for the vines, different pruning methods. Depends on the grape, the climate, what kind of quality you're aiming for. And timing the harvest is absolutely critical. Often done at night or really early morning to get the grapes when they're cool and at peak ripeness.
And we mentioned sustainability earlier. It sounds like it's really taking hold as a core practice.
It's a huge commitment now, yeah. A really strong focus on sustainable, organic, even biodynamic farming. That means cutting back or ditching synthetic pesticides, herbicides, managing water carefully, building healthy soil, promoting biodiversity in the vineyard.
That's great.
You see more and more wineries getting certified too to show they're serious about it.
Given some areas are dry, irrigation must be important. But it's not just about pouring water on, is it?
No, it's about precision. Irrigation is definitely needed in many of the warmer inland spots, but the focus is on efficiency. Using things like drip irrigation, delivering water right to the roots, minimizing waste, giving the vine just what it needs when it needs it.
Okay, so we've got these carefully managed vineyards, grapes arrive at the winery. What happens next? Let's start with reds.
Okay, red wine typically starts with destemming, then crushing the grapes. Then comes maceration, letting the juice soak with the skins. That's key for extracting color, tannins for structure, and aroma compounds.
Right, the skin contact.
Exactly. Then fermentation yeast turns sugar to alcohol. That's carefully controlled, maybe in stainless steel, cement tanks, sometimes wood. After that, aging. Could be in steel to keep it fruity, or often in oak barrels, French oak, American oak, new oak, old oak. That adds structure, complexity, those vanilla or spice notes.
And malolactic fermentation.
Yeah, often happens with reds too. It's a secondary fermentation that converts sharp malic acid to softer lactic acid. Makes the wine feel rounder, smoother.
And white wines. A different approach, I assume, often aiming for freshness.
Generally, yes. For whites, it usually starts with gentle pressing, often whole clusters, to get the juice out quickly without too much tannin from the skins. Fermentation is often in temperature-controlled stainless steel tanks, helps retain those bright, delicate aromas.
But not always steel.
No, especially with Chardonnay, you might see fermentation or aging, or both, in oak barrels. That adds richness, complexity. Another technique is Lee's contact sur lie, leaving the line on the spent yeast cells. That builds texture, adds subtle bready or nutty notes.
And Sonoma's known for sparkling wine too. Is it made like champagne?
Yeah, the high-quality stuff is predominantly made using the traditional method, the same method Champa was. Secondary fermentation right in the bottle, creates the bubbles and those complex yeasty notes over time.
Using Pinot Noir and Chardonnay mainly.
Exactly. Which, as we know, do really well in Sonoma's cooler zones, making it a great place for elegant sparkling wine.
And what about rosé or dessert wines? Do they feature?
They definitely have a place. Sonoma makes some really lovely, dry, refreshing rosés from various red grapes. And you can find some delicious dessert wines, too, usually from late harvest grapes, super concentrated and sweet. Maybe not the main focus, but they add to the diversity.
Throughout all this, the winemaker, the enologist, their role seems absolutely crucial in shaping the final wine.
Oh, pivotal. Absolutely pivotal. They're making decisions constantly, from the vineyard right through to bottling. When to pick, how to press, what yeast to use, how long to age it, what kind of oak. Their skill and vision are essential for quality and for letting that unique Sonoma terroir speak through the wine.
Okay, so we've covered the history, the land, the grapes, the making. Now, the best part for many, what do these wines actually taste like? Let's get into the sensory side, starting with Sonoma's Star Red, Pinot Noir.
Right, Sonoma Pinot. Typically, you'll get aromas of bright red fruits, think cherry, raspberry, often some earthy notes too, maybe forest floor, mushrooms, and a hint of spice. On the palate, expect lively acidity, silky tannins, smooth, not harsh, and a medium body.
And differences between AVAs.
Definitely. Sonoma Coast Pinots might show more minerality, maybe a bit more tension. Russian River Valley Pinots can be a bit richer, more generous with the fruit. You really taste the place.
And the bolder Cabernet Sauvignon, especially from warmer spots like Alexander Valley.
Sonoma Cab, particularly Alexander Valley, often shows concentrated black fruit casses, blackberry classic cedar, maybe some tobacco or spice notes. It typically has firm tannins, good structure, full body, built for aging often, can be quite opulent compared to cabs from cooler areas.
And Zin, that California classic, especially the old vine stuff from Dry Creek.
Sonoma Zin, especially Old Vine Dry Creek, it's known for intense, ripe, dark fruit plum, blackberry jam, often with that signature black pepper spice. Tannins are noticeable, but usually well integrated, medium to full body. Those old vines give amazing concentration, real depth.
And what about Sonoma Syrah? What flavors and textures should we expect?
Sonoma Syrah can range a bit. Dark fruit, yes, blackberry, plum, often black pepper, sometimes smoky or leathery notes too. The body and structure vary with the location, but it often has this nice balance of fruit and savory elements.
Okay, moving to the whites. Chardonnay, the chameleon. What's the sensory range there?
Huge range. It can go from crisp citrus, green apple, maybe flinty mineral notes, all the way to richer stone fruit like peach or apricot, sometimes tropical hints. Often, especially if oaked, you'll get vanilla, toast, butter notes. Acidity varies. Texture can be lean and zesty or rich and creamy depending on oak, malolactic, lees contact. You really need to know the AVA and the producer's style.
And Sauvignon Blanc. What are the key giveaways?
Sonoma Sauvignon Blanc usually shouts refreshment. Vibrant aromas, grassy, herbaceous, maybe that distinctive tomato leaf thing, plus zesty citrus and tropical fruit like passion fruit. On the palate, it's typically got that bright, zingy acidity. Very lively.
It's amazing how terroir, grape, and winemaker choices all weave together in the glass. Any quick tips for listeners trying to taste these differences?
Yeah, a few things help. Serving temperature is important. Don't serve whites too warm or reds too cold. It mutes things. Use decent glassware. A good bowl shape really helps capture the aromas. And try to taste systematically. Look at the color. Really smell it. Take your time. Then taste. Think about the flavors, the acid, the tannins, the body, how long the taste lasts, and honestly, the best way. Taste wines from different Sonoma AVAs side by side. That really highlights the terroir differences.
Good advice. Okay, so we know what they taste like. Now, pairing them with food. Sonoma's got this great food scene, so how do the wines mesh with different dishes?
Oh, they're incredibly food-friendly, really versatile. They work beautifully with that fresh California cuisine, lots of local ingredients, but also with all sorts of international foods. It's all about finding that balance.
Okay, let's get specific. What works well with Sonoma Pinot Noir?
Pinot's elegance, its acidity, those earthy notes. It's great with grilled salmon, roasted duck, mushroom risotto is a classic pairing, coq au vin. Anything with truffles, medium-bodied cheeses too. It's a red that doesn't overpower delicate flavors.
And Chardonnay. With its different styles, the pairings must vary too.
Totally. A crisp, unoaked Sonoma Chardonnay. Fantastic with oysters, shellfish, grilled whitefish with lemon, seafood salads. Think fresh and clean.
Okay.
But a richer oaked Chardonnay. That calls for something richer too. Grilled lobster with butter maybe. Roasted chicken, creamy sauces, heartier fish dishes. Medium to stronger cheeses work well there, too.
What about the big reds, Cabernet Sauvignon and Zinfandel? What foods make them happy?
Cabernet, with its structure and tannins, loves protein and fat. Grilled steaks, roasted lamb, rich braises, aged hard cheeses, classic pairings.
Mm.
Zinfandel, with its bold fruit and spice, is awesome with barbecue ribs, pulled pork, burgers, grilled sausages, even things with a bit of spice.
Mm.
Hearty meat pizzas.
And that bright Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc loves anything fresh, green, or tangy. Ceviche is great. Shrimp salads, asparagus dishes, it's fantastic with Thai and Vietnamese food, cuts through spice and richness beautifully. Goat cheese is another classic pairing.
It really highlights finding the balance weight, flavor intensity, acidity, tannins between the food and wine.
Exactly. You want them to enhance each other, not fight. The goal is harmony, making both the food and the wine taste better together, creating a more complete experience.
Any final pro tips for creating great food and wine moments with Sonoma wines?
Well, beyond the specific match, think about serving temperatures again. Use the right glasses.
Yeah.
If you're having multiple wines, think about the order, usually lighter before heavier.
Good point.
Use good ingredients, obviously. And don't be afraid to experiment. Sometimes contrasting pairings work. Sometimes similar flavors work. Talk about the wine, the food, share the story, and, just create a nice, relaxed atmosphere. That always helps.
Absolutely. So Sonoma is clearly amazing for wine and food. And it sounds like a beautiful place to visit, too. Let's talk eno-tourism. What makes Sonoma a draw for travelers?
Oh, it's a fantastic destination. The scenery is just stunning. Rolling vineyards, redwood forests, the coastline. It's beautiful. The wineries themselves are so varied. Grand historic estates, tiny family-run places. You get a real range. And the towns, Sonoma Town, Healdsburg, Petaluma, they're charming, full of history, great restaurants, little shops. It's just a really appealing package.
What kind of things can visitors actually do there, wine-wise?
Well, tasting rooms are the main thing, of course. Lots of different formats, from casual drop-ins to seated guided tastings. Many offer winery tours, vineyard walks, where you learn about the farming, the terroir.
Oh.
Food and wine pairing experiences are popular too, either at the wineries or local restaurants. You can go biking through the vineyards, have picnics. There are often special events happening too. Lots to do.
Are there any big annual events people should know about?
Yeah, the Sonoma County Harvest Fair in the fall is a big one. Celebrates the harvest, lots of tastings, food. Taste of Sonoma is another major event, showcasing tons of wines and local food, usually in a beautiful outdoor setting. Great ways to dive into the local scene.
And all this tourism must be pretty important for the local economy.
Hugely important, absolutely essential, really. It supports the wineries, obviously, but also hotels, restaurants, shops, tour operators. Creates a lot of jobs. It's a really vital part of Sonoma's identity and economy.
So a great place to visit and taste.
Yeah.
But like anywhere in agriculture, Sonoma faces challenges, right?
Yes, definitely. It's not all smooth sailing. Climate change is a huge one. Rising temperatures, unpredictable rain, heat waves. These are major concerns.
And wildfires.
Wildfires have become a really serious threat lately. Risk of damage to vineyards and wineries, of course, but also the issue of smoke taint affecting the grapes, which can ruin the wine.
Wow, yeah.
Plus, the market is super competitive. Napa next door, wines from all over the world, and production costs are high land, labor, regulations, investing in sustainability. It all adds up.
It sounds like that sustainability focus we keep mentioning isn't just nice to have, it's becoming essential for survival.
Absolutely paramount. It's about long-term viability, responsible water use, soil health, reducing chemical inputs, promoting biodiversity. It's about ensuring the land can keep producing great grapes for future generations. It's stewardship.
So looking forward, how is the Sonoma wine industry adapting? What's the focus?
Well, there's a lot of focus on research and innovation. Finding grape varieties or clones that handle heat or drought better, developing smarter water management, finding natural ways to deal with pests and diseases, refining winemaking to boost quality and resilience. Things like precision viticulture, using tech to manage vineyards more efficiently, are becoming more common too.
So despite the challenges, it sounds like there's a real proactive drive to maintain that quality Sonoma is known for and strengthen its identity.
Exactly. The future really depends on that continued commitment to quality, embracing the amazing diversity they have in terroir and grapes, and really cementing what makes Sonoma unique in the world of wine, building on the history but pushing forward with innovation and sustainability.
Well, this has been an absolutely fantastic, really insightful deep dive into Sonoma wine. It's so clear. It's a region just full of history, defined by incredible diversity and really driven by passion for quality and innovation, too.
Absolutely. The influence of the terroir, the sheer variety of grapes that thrive there, and just the dedication of the winemakers, it all comes together to create some truly exceptional wines. They really do deserve attention.
So we definitely encourage you, our listeners, to go out and explore Sonoma wines and, hey, maybe even plan a trip to experience that beauty and the wine culture firsthand.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe a final thought, just remember, Sonoma's story is still being written. It's this ongoing journey, balancing tradition with innovation, tackling sustainability, all to make sure it stays a really important, dynamic wine region on the world stage.